Okay, for the new council, Newtown Borough Council is accepting proposals for borough solicitor and borough engineer for the year, council that will be seated in 2010. And I will be getting in contact with the incoming members of council to find out when they might be available to consider the proposals that we get for those.
Question. Did I miss something on going out for replacing the engineer? I know of Don's resignation, but I didn't know of any changes we were contemplating for the engineer.
The new council can consider that because it doesn't continue on. Borough engineer serves at the pleasure of council, and we have the opportunity to reappoint them or...
New council hasn't been sworn in. New council hasn't met yet, and I don't think it's appropriate for us to be premature on this. I think it's action that we can take after January 4th, but I don't think it's appropriate for us to take action this year to, in fact, put a request out for bid for the engineer when, in fact, we have an engineer in place. I understand your point on Don Williams, but I don't think we've had a discussion as council, and I think it's council's decision, not the liaison to personnel, to put that request out. I think we need to wait till January.
Well, I think it is appropriate. As I say, it's a new, as has been said, it's a new council. The new council meets first Monday in January. There's lag time. We have enough things going on. In fact, we're facing a timing issue this evening we're going to talk about because there's a 24-hour period of time between reorganization and a hearing the next day that we've got to grapple with. So to begin the process in January and then take perhaps several weeks to complete it isn't exactly wise either. Solicitation of these doesn't mean that there will be an actual replacement, but it certainly affords the opportunity for the members going on to serve next year and also the new members to avail themselves of proposals and have some familiarity. So when January comes, they're well advised of who has an interest and can move forward. So I think it's actually very prudent.
I think it's something that should have been discussed prior to this meeting. It's the last meeting this council is going to have between now and the beginning of the next meeting. And this is the first I've heard of it from anyone on council. And I'm more than put off by that. I know council's going to change, but I'm still going to be here. You're still going to be here. Gerard's going to be here. Gerard, have you heard about this before? Or is this the first time you're hearing it?
I think this is on the 4th, we're going to assign an engineer. So why not consider who that engineer should be ahead of time?
I don't think it's appropriate action. Is it appropriate action, Mr. Solicitor?
I believe it's the discretion of the board.
Of the existing board?
Yes.
Does it require a motion that we do this? Position is exactly as far as I understand the position on the solicitor, but I do not understand the position on the engineer. And if it requires a motion, then it requires a motion.
I think a motion is appropriate because you have a record in the minutes of what's transpired.
Make a motion to request proposals from firms interested in serving as borough engineer for the council to begin in 2010.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Nay.
Nay. 3-3 tie.
There's actually nothing that says that Gilmore can't come back and tell us what a wonderful job they've done and encourage us to reappoint them for the coming council. It's just,
Just to convene the process
Just
of
to ask for the
evaluate,
application.
of looking for a new engineer and a new solicitor, or evaluating candidates for engineer and solicitor.
I broke it down, just an engineer in that one.
Oh, just engineer.
I can modify it and make it both if you want.
No, I have no problem with the solicitor in light of Don's resignation.
Well, Julie, you're going to include both then so we can move this
Sure,
along?
both. Okay. I amend my motion to include solicitor.
Okay. We have a motion that's been amended.
That was not my point. My point was the engineer. I'm not concerned. We have a resignation from our solicitor. I have no problem taking action with the solicitor. It is new information to me this evening regarding the engineer. And I don't think it's appropriate for this council, as Mike has often pointed out, this council can't necessarily commit future councils to other things. We've got 2 new members of council coming on board. They have a right to be heard.
We're not committing, we're soliciting
You are
information.
invoking a process here
May
that
I
I think
finish?
existing councils, new councils should be a part of.
We're trying to have the information necessary so that the new council can go forward on a timely basis and select professionals so they can do the business of this borough. To wait until January, which is always possible, is to add weeks to that process and may place the business of the borough in jeopardy. So it's a prudent thing to do. What I would suggest, since your problem apparently is strictly with the engineer, is Julie return to her original motion.
Well,
We-
yeah, I'm
we
happy
vote
with
on
the
them
original motion.
We vote on them separately, and if it's a 3-3 tie again, then Dennis will, I guess, break the tie and tell us if we have to wait to start this process in January or not.
We had a motion on the engineer and a vote. Motion was 3-3, and this is to you.
It's just to request proposals to review from the borough engineer.
So
That's
if
all.
we're having all this comment, then can I make a comment here as well? What my objection to this is that it implies that this council is in favor of doing that, going out and seeking bids from alternate engineers. And whether or not this council is in favor of that, no one seemed to care. You just went ahead and made that suggestion. The first I heard of it was when you mentioned it. Perhaps if we were consulted before you decided to announce it, that it might have had a different result. But to me, the implication is somehow that this council is dissatisfied with Gilmore's performance and wants to seek alternative engineers, and that's not the message that I want to say. If a future council is of a mind to seek an alternate engineer and explore those proposals, they're free to do so. But it's not my mind to do it at this point.
Yeah, I'm of the same mind as Rand.
For that matter, why aren't we doing Keystone at the same time? I mean, I don't understand the motivation behind it, and I'm concerned with this.
Right.
We can also put that in if you like.
Well, I don't know why we're doing it.
Well, the reason I'm doing it, actually, is that you are certainly going to be receiving, solicited or not, going to be receiving proposals from firms that would like to serve the new council. It seems to make a whole lot of sense to say that, yes, we are interested in receiving those proposals and to get together and figure out how we're going to look at these things in advance of the new council so that we all have an opportunity to know what's out there and make the appropriate decision early on so that the business of council can go forward.
But we're
Clearly,
not
if-
soliciting them.
Pardon?
We're not soliciting them. If we're
We
going to
are.
get them, we're going to get them regardless. You're creating a scenario that suggests that perhaps this council is not happy with what services Gilmore has provided. And if that's the case, so stated, but I don't understand why we're doing it.
Bob,
We
you're
haven't had,
nothing-
excuse me,
Go ahead.
we haven't had a discussion about making these kinds of changes within this sitting council. If future, new council wants to have those discussions, it's appropriate. We can replace anyone, anytime during the year, okay? And I don't understand why we're doing it this evening. I mean, unless someone's going to sit here and tell me they're not happy with what Gilmore has done and has reasons as to why we want to go out and do their search, fine. But no one said that. You're just making an announcement, as if, Julia, you made the decision independent of council. And I don't like that. It's inappropriate.
There's a
So if-
motion, excuse me, there's been a motion, it's been voted on, there's a tie vote. May I suggest the mayor either elect to break the tie tonight, to refuse and call a special meeting, or not act?
By not acting, then this would just be taken up at the reorganization meeting,
That's correct.
correct?
The first council meeting.
Or at the first council meeting, depending on the agenda. Well, I was seemingly, as the rest of the, or 3 of the council members caught off guard by this, I would like to put this off then until the reorganization meeting.
The motion fails.